equal operator we call the pattern matching operator. So equal sign in Elixir not only just the assignment, but also the matching, the matching that can be used to extract the data from the right hand side. Uh, the concept is called destructuring in other language like TypeScript, uh, Python, and I think Golang as well. I'm not sure about Golang, but I know it's in Python, it's in TypeScript, JavaScript, the destructuring concept. But we use the equal sign to match what is on the right. And then at the same time, we can extract the information to variable on the left. And the matching can be done for almost any data type, including struct, map, record, etc. Yeah, so, and then if you look at the documentation here, it say it's a x equal 1. So, okay, now x hold the value of 1. X hold the value of 1 because to start out with, I don't have share screen yet. Let me share screen. Okay, so it's not formal yet. Don't worry about it. When we go to formal class, then we have to be more prepared. Let me see. Where share screen? Okay, let me see. I could not see that there. Like this.
Bây giờ full screen zoom sao?
Yeah, mới là products. Tới được vừa khơi lại zoom. Zoom thử sử dụng chứ. Okay, let me do this. Give me one moment. Maybe high floating control. Just too messy on this thing. Okay. So you look at this I have here. Let me delete everything here. That's not related. I'm looking at the documentation, Elixir documentation. And if you look at here, we have x equal 1. X equal 1 because x does not exist. We define x and assign a value 1 to it. Now, if we say x equal 1, then it's working fine. But because x hold the value 1, and if we do 1 equal x, this is when we do the matching. You say, hey, check if 1 is equal x, and if it equal it, get the value. If not, gonna throw the matching error. No match of the right hand side of value 1. So it's exactly right hand side value. So in programming, it matters a lot between left hand side, right hand side, especially in C++. Not just functional programming. In modern C++, the left hand side, right hand side has a big.
Oh, for right now they are
yeah. We do concept like memory ownership, borrowing, and moving, things like that. Those concepts of C++. We're not gonna don't want to be sidetracked here, but let's keep going down. And you see here, because I have not prepared a presentation next time I do it. Okay, on the right hand side we have tuple. Tuple is just a container that contains value in it, and there's no key to reference it. It's just whatever value we just put it in positional base. Position 0, position 1 is hello, position 2 is world, position 3 42. So it doesn't matter whatever we put in there, it's in there. It's just like a container box. So we can use if is the tuple. To extract tuple, my tuple, we have to have tuple. So on the right, you see a tuple. On the left, you do a tuple. You cannot just do the list on the left. It's not working.
It's not equal.
Yeah, it's not matching the data structure in the first place, let alone the value inside it, right? So now when you yeah, let test it out. Okay, when you install Elixir, you guys install Elixir already, right? If you do not, install Erlang and Elixir in your machine so that you can test it out with me. CD further, I go back home. Okay, I'm in home. I do IX. IX is like the inactive of Elixir language. EX Elixir, I is inactive shell. So when you do that, we say that I'm using Erlang OTP sub 27 library, and then I'm using Elixir version 1.17.3. Okay, and then I do a tuple. I could do X, Y, Z, and then I gonna try to match the same thing. Hello, world, and then 42. Okay, hello is an atom, or we call symbol in Ruby. It's a constant. We do use a colon sign and then whatever name it is. Atom is the atom is the something that hold the name and value same time. Okay, there's no other value. Hello is a value. It's also the name. Okay, world is a string because you see double quote outside it. So that's a typical convention in programming language. I'm going back to basic. All string are inside double quote, and character usually inside single quote.
Yes.
Except in JavaScript and TypeScript, string in single quote, everything double quote doesn't matter. Okay, so 42 is what? Is an integer. What the difference between integer and double or float? No decimal value, right? It's a whole number, countable. When it's countable, it's not continuous. If we speak from scientific term, which means that this number is not continuous. It's countable. It 42 is separate from 43. It's not connected from 43. So we work with integer, we work with a number, countable number that are not continuous. Continuous number are number that connected to each other. It's like decimal number, right? Float and things like that. So when I do this, what happened? I say, hey, it's much. It's very happy, right? It's much. So now my X will hold the value of, and then Z hold the value of 42. Let's say I don't want to capture all of it. I just want to capture hello. I can ignore the thing. I can do this. I can ignore the value. Any value that I ignore, I use underscore for it. And then when I do it, only X have it. I ignore the rest of it. Pattern matching, right? So how do I write a function that takes a tuple and then extract the value and then using it right away, you know? Let's say, yeah, let's let's say dev module. Let's create a module called demo and then define a function called the what's it called? Sum, right? Sum is like I value a total, you know, and then I gonna sum a couple value. I'm gonna sum up the value X, okay, which is gonna be take a tuple X. Gonna be okay, so I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. I'm gonna be summing 3 value in here. And then inside the function, I'm gonna just do X plus Y plus Z. Okay. And then end. That's it. It's already done. It's supposed to be, is it supposed to be one more thing? Okay, let me see. Test it out, demo, and then just do some, right? Do 10, 20, 30. Does it work? Yes, it works. So I thought I need one more end. Probably I do one. Oh, okay, because that one doesn't need end. I put the end right there. That ends for the module. Okay. So I define a demo, a module with a function called sum. And then you see when I pass in the tuple have three values, x, y, z. And then my function was able to pattern match it and extract those values x, y, z and do the calculation right away. In other language, you would accept the tuple inside the function and then assign those things, check if the value, get the value from it, use it. In Elixir, the parameter list is capable of extracting value and then using inside function right away. In matching, it extract positionally. Position 1 is 10, position 2, 23. So this matching is matching the tuple. Tuple is the data structure that hold value by position, right? Straightforward, easy to understand. Okay, so if you try to match three things with two things, it's gonna say there's no match at right hand side. The right hand side need to be three items in order to match three variable on the left hand side. That's why you cannot assign two value to three value to three variable, you know. And then if you look down here, on the right we have list, and on the left we have tuple. You cannot assign list to tuple. It doesn't work, right? Okay. You see here on the right you have what? Okay, and then 13. In Elixir we use the item, which is a symbol, okay, to denotes that operation going well, and then we have the error for operation that going bad, and it have no additional meaning. It just means that it's okay. And then because it's an atom, it doesn't have any key or attribute, anything. Itself is attribute and also value. So okay has a good meaning and also a constant, right? So when you say okay 13 and then you say okay resolve, you extract, you matching okay with okay, that's good. It's fine. It works. Resolve with, and then it will extract the 13 into resolve. Now you get, and then if you go down, you try to match okay resolve, which is 13 with error and oop. The word oops is like the expression in English when you do something wrong, say oop. Is that oop? Yeah, which means that oh, it's not right. Okay, so error and okay resolve. Now you see it doesn't work. So yeah, it's not nothing hard in Elixir. You just so making sense, right? It's just a programming designed to communicate with the machine and human. Okay, A, B, C in a list. Okay. And then it's matching with another list on the right. Does it work? Yep, of course. We have three items on the left, we have three items on the right. Both data structure is the same data structure, which is list. So it's working. So we are able to extract and assign 1 to A, 2 to B, and 3 to C. Okay. A list can also be support matching on its own head and tail. We already talked about head and tail. In functional programming language, head is the first item, tail is the rest of it, not the last item. Tail, the word tail doesn't mean only the last item. It means that from the neck to the end. So the head is head. Tail is from neck to the end. Remember that. Don't confuse with like animal tail. It doesn't work. So when you have a list, we use a pi operator to extract the list. And the pi operator was smart. It extract the first one into the head and the rest of it to the tail. So in Elixir, we don't need the loop. We don't need for loop to go through a collection. Let's say you have 5 items. In Golang, you would do a loop through it, start from item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then each time we go through a collection, we take one item and process it. Just like when you have like 5 dirty clothes in your basket. Every time you pick one and then clean it. Next time you pick one, clean it. The operation almost the same. It just take different item each iteration, each round, right? We call loop. This is basic functional programming. If you have a collection, you need the ability to go through the collection. Just like in real life. If you have like, if I have five like paper to correct, right? Let's say you guys submit to me 5 paper to correct. I have a collection of papers that I need to go through. Each iteration, I pick one and then look at it. Oh, this is wrong, right, and then finish it. So when it finished when the correction run out, or it finished when I decided to stop. Like I go to a third paper and say, oh, I have something else to do. I quit it. I exit out the loop operation. Yeah, I don't want to finish now because I already found what I'm looking for. Let's say I have a bug. I'm looking for like my watch. And then I go through each item. I check. Is it a watch? Is it a watch? I found my watch. I'm done. I don't want to keep going to the end because I've already found my watch. I take my watch and gone. Right? That's the loop. But the way we do loop, there's so many ways. You could do that for loop. You could do that while loop. You could do whatever loop that you can dream up. But in Elixir, our loop was recursive, which means that you do something and you do it again, but just different input. Same thing. You have, I want to cook 3 fish. Each time, first I cook my first fish. Second time I cook second fish, and third time I cook the third fish. I doing cooking 3 times, which means that I do things recursively. The term we use for it recursively, which means that the function call its own operation because we do the same thing. We don't need to other people to other different action to do it. We need the same action. That's why we call ourselves. That's why we call it recursive function, right? But let's see if I have item on the right. I have 1, 2, 3. So I have collection. If I have one, it's not a collection. It's just one. I have more than one, then I have a collection. I have a list, or we call a sequence. There's so many terms used to describe collection. You can call it sequence. You can call it container. You can call it the list. You can call it whatever, But the generic term we usually call sequence or the what's it called, collection. So my purpose here, my objective is to go through this list one by one and process it. So how do I go through it? So if I do one round, I can take one into the head and the rest into the tail. If I take the tail and then process it again, I take one out, one more, then I have one, like, right? So if you take the tail and process it, and each time you take its head up, you take one item out. So eventually you process all of them. Yeah, you now you understand, right? That's how we break apart the list. And how do we break apart this list? We're using the magic term in functional programming, parent matching. We matching it. We taking it by matching it. And we matching it by destructuring the list into each item in order to process it. If I have 5 customers at the bank, each customer, I have to, open a bank account for that customer. I have to go each customer and then open the bank account for each customer. So if I have 5 customers in this list, imagine 1, 2, 3 is not a number. Imagine that it's an object. Customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, John, Mary, Jane, or whatever. And then each time I destructuring into a head, I get one customer, I process it. I get the tail, destructuring again. I get the head out of the tail. I get one more. I get one more every time. And then I run out of run out of the customers list from the list, and then that's it. I process everything. But we also have another function called head hd/1 hd slash what does /1 mean? It means that function take one arity, take one parameter. Okay, we /2, we take 2 parameters. So in Elixir, when we write function, we usually put /1, /2, /3, so that you know how many parameter taking. Okay, so if I say head, let's just take a look at the head functions a little bit. So I put hd1, right? And then it tell me how to use this function. When I do the h is the shortcut of help, and then I put a function name. Now it tell me this is a spec, which is the data type that we Elixir is not a strongly type static type language, so we use spec in order to what's called put the type, specify the type for the function. So we say this function take 2 parameter. The first parameter is what? Only take 1 parameter, which is the list. Non-empty may be in proper list, and that list contain the item inside it, and then it also do the guard. The item inside the list have to be a valid Elixir term, which means that it have to be a string, it have to be a symbol, it have to be atom, it have to be anything that valid term of the Erlang or Elixir. Okay, and then when that guard return true, then it will run this function. It return the head of a list, which means it return the first item of the list. It rest argument error is the list is empty. It will, say that invalid input when the list is there's nothing in it, right? We can test this out. The head of list is its first item. It tell us too. You see, it work with improper list. I don't know the definition improperly. I think improper list is heterogeneous list, the list that contain different item. It doesn't have to be all number. It could be number, objects, and whatever. Yeah, we call improper list because this list is heterogeneous, which means that it's not homogeneous, which means that have different item inside.
It's like the same or not with a key list, because key list also like we have a list, but in the list we have like atom with it. So
the list of tuple.
Oh, tuple
and the tuple
also.
contain 2 items, one for key, one for value.
Yeah.
So we're gonna study keyword later, but if you look at here, the example, right? You will put example here. You put head function and then you put a list. Our list is what? 1, 2, 3. And then it will return the first value, right? Which is 1. Let's do the empty list. What happened? Either the empty list is gonna throw the error, which is the argument error, because it's say here. It doesn't lie to you. So you can always test on that and learn. Go to documentation, test, learn, and see it behave as expected, But if you see this list, it's the pipe can be used for 2 things. One if you do a pie like this, let's say pie head and okay, this is head and tail, right? And then we do a list. Let's say 5, 6, 7, like that. If you do this, because we have the matching on the right side, we do extraction here. We extract 5 into head and then 6, 7 into tail. So you can test that head. Okay, tail. Okay, you got that. But the pie has one more operation. Is for prepend. We talked about yesterday. Add one item into the front of the list. What's the difference between prepend and append? Okay, that's right. Prepend is add item in front of the collection, and append add item at the end of the collection. Why we do prepend? Because it's faster and efficient. If you go through the collection to the end and try to add it, it takes time to go through it. But if you just add it in front of it, you can just add in front of it right away. You don't care the rest of the collection. So let's do that. Let's say I have xi equal 1, 2, 3, right? And then I have z equal 0. Now I want to add 0 into the list xi. I can do like this, and I'm gonna call it an s. An s equal z pi xi. So what I'm doing here is that I generate a new list called ns, and in this new list, I prepend z to xs. I add the front of the x-axis z to it, and then when I press enter, now I get 0, 1, 2, 3. But if I check xs is 1, 2, 3, we call this concept immutable. Immutable. Immutable means cannot be changed. Able means can. Im mean not. Mute mean change. So immutable mean cannot be changed. Okay. Yeah, because our team here, some of us, our English might be limited. My English is horrible, but I understand the term. I don't know if I can ever improve my English. My English is same, maybe forever. It's to a point where it's no longer improvable. It's me. I'm myself is the blocker of my progress. Okay. So somebody called me. Kanya is calling me. Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's like, yeah, sorry about that. The Yeah, can I have to pick up this call real quick? Uh, I have appointment at 11, and he trying to make sure that I'm ready. I don't know, this phone, I cannot get to it. It locked me out. This is pathetic phone. Very pathetic. Lâu bông? Bad bông? Bông trên chốt. Change the time. Okay, so let's keep going. Now that change appointment, we can study longer. We have come to something called pin operator. Pin operator very important to preserve the value on the left from changing. Because during pattern matching, it also extract value and assign value into a variable, right? But if you don't want to change that variable, you say, don't assign anything to me, just do the match. Then you do a pin operator. Pin, you know the pin that people put on thing, pin. That's I think in the US, we make gold pin and sell it during one of my business class project. We make a lot of money, but the school took our money. So, well, I crazy. One at one point in Hawaii, me and my team make $30,000 in one semester, right? It's group project selling cookie to the tourists. Cookie, $30,000. At that time, the money is so like $25 is like
Yeah, it's so much. Why
250 is per đâm lần miss like gold, whatever. And they took all my money. The school too smart, It's like, oh my gosh, like my 5 people in my team made $30,000 profit in one semester selling cookie in a business class. So we have group projects that go and then create a business and then sell stuff. But man, they took all my money. I just like, I don't want no more grade, okay? Don't give me A, give me my money. It's crazy, but that's okay. Okay, so pin x equal 1, x equal 2. You see, the value of x in the terminal is changeable. We talk about immutable, but in Elixir it also make it changeable. It's like some language you use sign value x equal 1, x equal 1 forever.
Yes.
You cannot change. But in here you can assign it again, and we can make it 2, right? But because it make it easier to program. But we also have a pin operator. Let's say here x equal 1, but now in here, instead of put it on the right, we put on the left. If you put on the right, we don't need the pin operator. The pin operator already know that this is a pattern matching. It's not an assignable. You cannot assignable x into 2. That doesn't work. 2 doesn't take any, it's not a variable. It's a value. It doesn't take. So let's test it out. Let's say if I do x equal 1, right? And then if I do 2 equal x, I got an error because
It's not valid.
x whole value 1 and 2 whole value 2. 1 and 2 does not match. So when it match, it try to match the value on left to the value on right. But if I do this, let's say I want to do a match. But if I don't, I just do x equal 2. I'm in trouble because now the value exchange. I didn't do the pattern matching here. I actually assign value to it, right? But because if I do x pin operator, right? Where's the pin operator? How you do it? Like this. Caret x equal 5. Now 5 cannot be assigned to x. It's gonna try to match. So now instead of assign 5 to x, I'm tell Elixir that, hey, can you check if x equal 5? And I said no. I said, no much of right hand side. X is actually 2. It's not a 5. So if you want now pin an operator for pattern matching, use the caret and then that variable name. So you see that a lot in comparison in the when you try to pull the data from a database and then you do a where. Let's say where name equal and then a variable, and then you have to put a pin operator to ensure that that variable is a value used for comparison pattern matching. It's not a value for assigning to anything. So you will see a lot in Ecto. Ecto, right here, the library is called Ecto. We use for pulling data from a database, similar to entity framework in C# and similar to GOM in Golang. similar to something called record in Ruby. Yeah, Ruby is called record. So now we know what it is a pin operator. Because we have pin X when it was bound to the value 1, it is equivalent to the following. So if we do 1 equal 2, it's not going to work. So X pin equal 2 is equal 1 equal 2 because X hold the value 1. And then you see that's a pin operator. Okay. We can also use pin operator inside other pattern matches such as tuple list. So pin operator can be used outside or inside another data structure as well. Let's say we have a list data structure, hold the value 1, 2, 3. On the left hand side, we want to match if the list on the left matching the list on the right. Because X hold the value of 1, if you put 1 over there, it's gonna assign value 1 to X. But because we already have the value, we don't want anybody assign value to it, we put a pin operator. And if you see below right here, we have a tuple on the left and a tuple on the right. We want to extract the value of 2 into Y, but we want to keep the value of X and make sure that it match the value of X on the right. We don't want to do assignment on X, but we want to do assignment on Y, right? So when you do this line, it say, oh, it match because X matching the value 1 and Y because it's empty, it's no value because it's no have no pin operator. If we don't put pin operator, if we assign again, it's not going to be error. We're going to just assign value to X and Y. So now Y equal 2, X still equal 1. That is the pin operator. So pattern matching using for everything. For string, for struct, for tuple we use here, for keywords that you should say, and some other structure like map set. And then yeah, you can go through this yourself and then try to understand it. But that is the basic of pattern matching. Is any question before we going forward? No. So easy, right? Yeah. Just when you see it in Elixir programming, it's not hard. You just a different way of looking at things. You're not gonna see the same pattern here in C# or Python, you know. So when you see in here, but this concept pattern matching has been adopted by all the OOP language like C#, Java, and all that. They have it now too. And in Scala, they're using the word width. Scala is a very big proponent of pattern matching. But we're not going to go to Scala to sidetrack us. There something today too I want you guys to study, which is let's see for struct. Last time we talked about map already a little bit, but we will talk about it more. But we want to know how to define a struct. Because struct is very very famous data structure in all language, not just not just like say you study Rush, Golang, you see struct every day. So why we use struct? Because it we need to create object, and then if we don't, we need a way to something to represent object, right? That have name, attributes, and behavior to the real world. We don't design this out of our scientific crazy mind. We design this because we observe the real world and see that objects have attribute and behavior. If you observe an ant, okay, an ant behavior, like what does it behave, you know? And like it's
on the ball.
yeah, like basically and what color it is, you know, how small it is, We need to know the size of thing, how many legs and have, uh, you know, what is, yeah, how many eyes, things like that. And then how does it communicate with each other? Yeah, but to make it work, that's the behavior, right?
Yeah.
The fact that it work and that it bite, eat or whatever, that's the behavior of an ant. I don't want to go too scientifically, analyze the ant, but the basic idea that each object is in the real world have name, attribute, behavior, and more to it. So we need something to define struct. And in struct in a Elixir, we use something destruct, which is the to define struct. And then the struct name is defined as a module name. You see this module. What is a module name? A module name, that's module user, right? So our struct gonna be name user. What are other attribute? We have name and age. We put some default value too. So let's do that. So easy, right? Okay, so let me clear it out here and then make it bigger so that everyone can see. So I can do dash module user, right? Do dev. I can do dev struct, right? Name. I put John, and then I put maybe hobby. Hobby. I put like soccer. What the heck? What's that thing, man? I can't see that thing. You see? Okay, go. Okay, that's it. And then gonna put just n. So now I define a module called user, and I find two attribute, two field. The first field is name, the second field is hobby, but it contain default value. But let's say I say user one, equal use to define it, do like this. I put to instantiate to create the object. I do person sign and then user and then on bracket and then put just name. I put uh Jane and then hobby which maybe just hiking, and then you see here I don't use the default value. The default value John and then soccer, that's just like the default. If I do this like John, then equal just user, and then I don't give nothing. It because the John soccer is a default value within the struct. But now if I give it a name, I want it, I give it, and then I can do user two. Um, yeah, name, just say Dominic, hobby, video game, that's my son. Oh, how about I didn't put the T hobby, video games. Yeah, that's my son. He like playing video game too much. His name is Dominic. Yeah, it's his name is more like Italian, but I don't care. I just like to call him Dominic. To me, Panyat is just a name given to the people. It's not defined how the state or the attribute of those people. It's just a name. But yeah, that's why like we call some people we call king, some people call prime minister, some people we call farmer. To me, they're all human and the same. Okay. Name, hobby. So this is a struct. We can contain two fields, but we can also define like some field are required, some field are not. But let's say I want to find user and then I put like user three, and then I say user three should have, okay, I say name equal like, uh, okay, job is like, it's like uh, researcher, and then I just like do this. They say, oh, I don't know you know, the attribute job because when you define it, you never say that. I never say that this thing have a job. So now when I try to use this attribute, it's error. So one good thing about struct is that it doesn't allow us to define random attribute. In JavaScript, it's banana. Let me show to you. I'm not kidding. Okay. Node. Okay. I have user. Okay, I have constant user. It lied to me too. Constant still can be changed. The constants can supposed to be not be changed, right? Okay. First name. Okay. That's last name. Uh, okay. Okay. Now user contain two fields. I can just say user job, you know, researcher. And then now user have so you have to be careful in JavaScript, okay? When you write it, because anything possible. And it doesn't mean that like that's why your parents tell you not to play with fire because it burns you. But because kids, you always want to have more possibility, want to do more and more, right? In JavaScript, you can do anything, but be careful because what you can do can be, destructive to the system. Because right now I can modify this constant object. The reason it constant is user is constant, but its property is not. But so I say user equal error. You cannot assign variable to constant. Assign anything to the constant. Constant cannot user cannot be changed. But the property of user can be changed. It's ironic. That JavaScript people. That's why my Elixir is better. Okay. Welcome back to Elixir. Yeah. But yeah, explore the feature of all languages so that you understand why we have that feature. Feature are being used across languages. I consider myself software engineer. When I interview for Microsoft, they didn't ask me if I know C Sharp, TypeScript, Java, whatever. In all big tech company, they never ask that. Small tech company will say, I want you to know Java. I want you to know Python. Like so like. But in big tech company, they never ask you that. They just ask you is you know how to program. Are you a software engineer? Whatever language you use, it doesn't matter to them. Because they know you can solve problem using computer programming language. So in my team, I have people that have background in Python. I have people that just do JavaScript before. I have people that do just C++. So when we come together, we just any language new that we have to learn, we just need 1 week to know it. All we need just 1 week. It doesn't matter, simply language, whatever language, we just learn in 1 week. So language doesn't matter. So why you interview people for language, right? So, but business company, they don't follow like tech company. They don't have the engineering mindset. They just want to know, hey, if you know this, I want a Java people to join my team. Sometimes I was like, I got annoyed because I work for big tech, and then sometimes I was like, stop doing that. I'm not a type specific to a language, right? But sometimes you have to understand that they are employer, they looking for people at their choice. They have the option to do that. Even though it's not right, it's still possible. So you will see all sort of thing when you interview for a big tech job. Just how you will common all. But in big tech company like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they're not gonna ask you what language you know. Facebook, same thing. They can just like they throw you a problem, you can solve it logically, analyze everything, how to communicate with the teams. You good. So when I say if I hire an engineer and then I leave it like that to them and they cannot code it, I fire it because you're not a true engineer. You just know JavaScript. You're not adaptable, right? You're not a true like computer scientist that can learn any language and do anything, right? So we that's the idea. That's why I use the Elixir language. If you know JavaScript, you should be able to do Elixir too. It's not. So here these when we create the objects, instantiated, instantiation. The act of create object is instantiation. We have one copy of blueprint, and then we create many copy of real object. In C# we have class and also struct. I don't know. They call reference object, value object, but so confusing to me in C# when you have both struct and class, right? But then now they have something called record too. In addition to that, too many features, right? Language like Elixir, like Golang, we don't have many features. That's why it's simple and easy to maintain. When you have so many features like modern C++, that you spend the entire life just to learn the feature. There's so many features in the modern C++. But C# all the feature makes sense. But in C++, man, some features I feel like more like academic and scientific. It's not real usable. In Golang, we design the language so simple. We don't even have generic. We just add generic recently. But in Elixir, even more simple. We only have struct. We have module function. We have protocol, Zjol, and a couple more things. But very, very easy to learn. Okay, so why we create objects? Tell me. Why we create objects?
We create object to use it by if we know that we have the property, so we can use it in our function and our programming.
Yeah, that's great. But the thing is that when we define struct, we just make a blueprint.
Yes.
It's not a house, but you can take it to build 1,000 houses. The house is a real thing, which is object. But we need something to tell us what are the property, what are the action, what are the behavior, what are the name. Okay, so it just the mold that you use to make many parts. If you have a mold, you can make many parts. Okay. If you have, so let's say you have 1,000 customers coming in. Each customer have different first name, last name, right?
Yes.
Different whatever. So we create customer struct, and then for each customer, we create an object, and then we fill in a value specific to that customer, and then we save in database. That's it, done. So while capture the information, you want an object. And can that object be shared? No, it's specific to that customer. I cannot use that same object and mix up with another customer. It's gonna be a nightmare, right? So I need the ability to create unique objects for each customer. And in order to do that, I use class in C#. I use struct, Elixir and Golang, right? Same thing. I use class or literal objects in the JavaScript. Same thing. You see, we define in TypeScript, you can use either interface or you can use class or literal object, doesn't matter. But JavaScript is very loosely Thai language. Sometimes I'm very concerned, but it works. As long as it works, you test it work, make sure it works. but it can be data can change unpredictably if you're not careful. But see, I create an object called John. It have age and name automatically because I have default field. And then I can use object and I can access that field. I can choose a dot name. The dot operator just access that field, you know? And then I can update it too. I use a pi operator. I can change the name to Jane by using put inside a map and then do pi. The thing struct is just a map with a name. Map is key value, but has no name. But when you give a name, now it becomes a struct. So struct is still a map. So you can use map to update it. So now I update this John into a Jane. Same age. And then if I update with value is not exist, then it throw an error, key error. So recognize the syntax first, know how to define it, know how to create object, know how to define field, optional field. And then when you go down, they're gonna have like, okay, they say it's a map, it's not lying. Now we can also do require field. If you don't define a value, then the default value will be nil. Nil is null or nothing in English, nothing.
But we have version in
So in Elixir we call nil, in Golang we call nil, in C# we call null, C++ we call null, JavaScript we call null. But the concept of you can spend the entire life just to study the concept of nothing. In philosophy and scientific, in a scientific community, the word nothing is absolute beast. You can study your whole life. Okay. Study from you're young until you die, you still not understand nothing properly. Okay. So let me say I have nothing here and nothing here. Can these two nothing equal? No, even though nothing is not equal. So in database, when you write program, you can not say that, oh, when this value equal null. It doesn't work. This value is null. It work because two nulls not equal each other. Now I get your head spin because scientifically, I tell you, I'm not lying. You can spend the entire life just to study the concept of nothing. And we have science philosopher and scientists that study nothing for their life and wrote these books, okay? And I have seen like 1,500 pages book, study nothing. Okay, I have it. I have not finished it in my home. That's why when I heard the word nothing, nil, null, it scared me. I'm not kidding. You go and check it out. But it's the most complicated concept in mathematics is nothing and zero. Those two are nasty. The biggest mystery of the world. You can study all your whole life. So when you see nil, which means nothing, nothing is the default value of struct field. That we don't have to give it default values right here, you know. So here I do like name, email says no default value, which is nil. Name equal John, age equal integer. Okay, keep going, keep going. And then now we have something called enforce key. You put enforce key, and then you put it in, it become a required field. I define a car, but I want it must have the value make, you must provide the value make when you create the object, otherwise give you error. Let's test this concept. Okay, it's a very good concept called enforce key. Okay, let's do Same thing. There's module. We define a module called car. A function with name cannot exist outside a module in Elixir. If you want to exist outside a module, it have to be a lambda function, assigned anonymous function, or assigned to a variable. So a function with a name must exist inside a module. So let's say define a module. Module is just nothing. It's just a group of function or attribute that we have. So I say enforce key. I love this car thing a lot because I will have one project related to car and all that. So we have with say enforce key make, you could put a list of things in there. You see a list, enforce key is a list, which means that you can just comma, separate it, and then put anything in there. Okay. Now you put the struct you want. We want makes and model. I don't want to do model before make. Okay. Makes and model and do the end, right? So when I define a car objects and then I do car, it will gonna be error because it need to be at least provide the value for make. For make is in for key. Let's try that car again. Car, and then I do make equal like Audi, which is we almost like Audi, same thing. Too much expensive to fix. I'm nasty. I give one of my beam to my friend in the US because
It costs more than that.
it costs more to keep it. Just look at it, it's like I'm throw up every day seeing it. Every time I fix it, $3,000, $5,000. It's like, man, you take it. I I give one sport car to people for free, believe it or not.
Costs more to maintain and kill.
It's just like you have a beautiful girlfriend, but she's like, man, spend all your money and everything. I mean, then drama all morning night. You just like, buddy, I give one you and my girlfriend. I give it. Take it. Take her. Take the car. Same thing. So they when you say it's fine, and the model is still nil, right? So yeah, but don't ask me about concept nil. Like nil is too much, too much beyond my knowledge, right? Let's say nil equal nil. Let's see. This lying. This Elixir is lying. The nil is not equal nil. Yeah, I don't think it's true. It's like in database, you say nil equal nil, you're in trouble, big time trouble, because database people get nil correct. You can say this column is nil. Okay, this where last name is nil. You can select the value of that row, referenced by the column. Let me, yeah, I think I have database here.
Oh, that exactly what we can change it. So
Okay, I show to you. I show to you so that you believe me. Okay, let me see. Postgres. Yeah, sometimes computer lying to us too, It's not computer are defined by people, so it's not like always correct. So let's say I go to a database, right? And then I have a table called let me go to phone entity type, like star from entity type, right? I pull in everything from entity type. What the heck is this? Block me from. Okay, there's nothing in here. Did they? Okay, so let's insert something into this table. Insert into entity types. Specify the column. What column you want it to? Codes, name, description. Codes just text, name, text, description, text. Let's see. I don't think it worked. It will require more field. Blah, 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 require field, which is ID, need ID. So we need ID. The ID, we want to use a function call generate UUID, generate V4. The extension had to enable too for this to work. Run again. Let me comment this out, run it. There occur incorrect syntax, missing the comma. Run it. This extension is not enable. I have to enable extension. Let me see. Go to here. Enable UUID extension Postgres. I just have to run one command to turn on the extension. Because in Postgres, by default, we don't support UUID, but if you turn on the extension now, it's supporting, right? Okay, let me run it. It failed. The value local is required. See, when it's not null, the field is not null, you have to provide a value en-us. Oh, my links here. Okay, that's we don't need comma at the end. Oh, this one already run again. Oh, we need the column inserted add, and then update it. Right. So now I'm gonna just do now. I just insert one row into the database. Let's select it again to see what it is, what we have in the database. So we have first column, we generate the ID, which is we're using UUID. Why we using UUID in the database instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 like that?
To make it done repeat.
No.
When we have the new insert, so it's generated a new ID.
No. You use number, it also generate new number.
I think it's more unique. Security. Security.
Because we don't want people to guess it. Yeah, because sequential number, I can guess it. If I see 4, there must be a 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can randomly guess and then attack the system by trying to pull the user by the ID or whatever by the ID, right? So let me check this one again. Okay, so I use this, but it's slower because it takes time to compare the string with the string when we search for things in the database, things like that. But its number is just like 1 equal 1, quick, right? There's no hassle. We are compare like 36 character string, slower, but it's more secure. But I see a lot of systems, they still use 1, 2, 3, something like that these days, Yeah, easy to study. But in the real world, I mean, I can, if I see like you pull the user ID 2 in my account and then I just change the ID, press enter, I see all the information of now the user is like, okay. Yeah, we can easily attack the system. So let's see what field are null. You see here, deleted add is null. Why I don't use the term is deleted? Why using deleted add? It's a date field, date time field. So it's like two birds kill one stone killing two birds, whatever. So when we use deleted add, if there's something in there, we know that this row is deleted. But we also know that it deleted at certain date and time. You see, we know two things at the same time. We don't need is deleted and is deleted date time to field to track it. It's wasting time. To be efficient, you use just deleted add. And then now, if there's nothing, it's not deleted. If there's something, it deleted, but it also tell us the date and time. You see, we save one column. So some people say it's deleted, date time, it's deleted by. Now you have three columns. It's like it's not efficient. You can, but it's not efficient. It's a lot of coding. It's like just the term deleted add. I just want to show you I designed it with the efficiency in mind. But this column is null, right? Sorry about that. There's interruption everywhere. Hello? No, no. Yeah, you see this field is null. This field is null, right? But let's say I let me do write a query. Select star. Let me make bigger. It's like hard to read. Select star from entity type, right? Where modified by equal null. Error. No, there's nothing. It didn't return anything. Why? Because it compare null with null. It's not equal. It's not equal because nothing is not equal nothing. Why? Because your nothing is here. My nothing is here. You don't know what inside the nothing you have. I don't know what inside my nothing here. Scientifically, in terms of philosophy, we understand that nothing is not equal nothing. But Elixir lied to us, nil equal nil. But I don't. I, it's okay. I can accept it. Yeah. But a lot of things that's right, but that one's not really right. Maybe someday I can talk with Jose Williams, see if he's doing that. But if I say that, okay, modified by is nil, it's null, and it give me my data. It say true. Modified by is null, it's true. That modified by has no value, it's nothing. But it's not equal nothing. That's why null is not equal null in database in the real world. So you guys have keep this in mind when you have take exam or whatever interview. Be careful because some people might be tricky enough to ask you this question, and you just fail the interview. Or to me, I don't really care about interview. I care the real knowledge, the understanding, the reasoning behind it. That's what make me happy. But that is concept like nil is not equal nil. I'm trying to show to you. Okay, so we know how to define a basic struct. It's not complicated. We know how to define field, and the field, we know how to find default value. We know how to enforce that certain field is a required field. Required field means that you have to provide value when you instantiate it, when you create the objects. And now you know this, you can define anything. So the ability of programming is the ability of take a real world situation and model the programming after it. Translate the real world into code. That's your ability to write good program. So now, as I say, ask you, hey, let's go ahead and create an application about school registration. Now you can write down, okay, what are the objects? In order to register somebody, you have to have student, and you have to have course, you have to have department, you have to have teacher, you have to have time and all that. Now you start come up with struct. Let's have a student struct. Okay, let's have a course struct. What course struct? What information does course hold? It have a course name, course description. It hold like who's the instructor, teacher, and what time the course start, and then what is course schedule, things like that. So you start to have all these course, start to have all these, class, room, whatever, and then start to have teachers, start to have students. You start to see the real world, and then you take those real world, convert into code. That ability to write program, right? If you don't have the ability of translate the real world into program, then you're not a programmer. When people build a ship, they build a model, they build a small ship this big, and they have everything. And then they take the small model to be the big one. When we build Angkor Wat, we have already built Bangkok Strait, very similar to Angkor Wat. So everything we already have a model, we tested already before we build a bigger one. The bank is the real world. Our code is a bank representation of it. Just like when I draw a picture of you, my picture, I say it's you, but say, no, that's just a picture. It represents you because I have all the attribute that you have in my picture represent you. In my code, I have all the attribute that the bank have that represent customer, that represent bank account, represent everything. So in reality, I can use my model to keep track of the real world. You see the connection between real world and model, the symbol and the real thing, right? That's make our programming mind understand and powerful. If you don't have this ability, you cannot write code. The ability to write code is to see the real world and translate them into a model representation of the real world using code to represent it in a memory. You have memory as your friend. All information you can store in a memory, and you have database to store information when you shut the machine down or whatever real thing. But when your program is running, you model, you create a car in a memory, in a database memory, or in a computer memory, and then you say, hey, memory, can I store first name in here? Let's store last name in here. And then can I store this object in here, which is the car in here, or the person or the bank in here. And then I want to modify this. I want to do this. I want to, oh, this person withdraw the money. I want to take the money out from the account. Or the person deposit money. I want to put it into account. So whatever you do in the memory, and then when people save it, you save into a database, is the representation of the real world. That's why we can use our system to run the bank. That's why we can use our system to run the entire country. That's why we can use our system to run the airline, the ability to make a model of the real world, even better than the real world with more information to it. I don't think it's better than the real world, but good enough to represent the real world, to be able to help process information in the real world.
Faster.
Yeah. Yeah. So that let's say people come in, open account in my bank, coming in, register, put all information and all that. I stop capturing all information. I put into a user object or customer object. And then when they save it, then I put into a database, assign it the ID. Okay, this person ID, they'll tell the bank, hey, give your ID, and then they start to add a card. I create a credit card, debit card, whatever. And then okay, here's the number and all that. Usually connect me here. So when people like swipe the money on the ATM say, read the number going in, and go to the base and check, oh, is this person, yes, take the money out, right? You see the connection between information system and human and the real world. You have to understand that. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And otherwise, you're not be a good programmer, no matter how good you at coding. The good coding is the art and the science, which means that you use both art and science to code, not just science. That's why I can taught myself to become a software engineer. I don't need teacher to tell me to become software engineer. I don't need school, wasting money, right? There's so much information in the internet I can learn and then become software engineer. Why you spend all 4 years and go to school and coming out still not knowing it? I was like, it doesn't make sense to me, Makes sense to me. You just watch YouTube and do it and think about it. And you should be able to do it. YouTube save you a lot of money. save you 4 years. You use that 4 year, use the money you go to college, put into the stock market, whatever, and then you make a lot of money and you use the money to help your family, whatever is better. But the real world, like, want you to have collect degree. Some collect degree really helpful, but I have seen scientists that are 13 years old, 14 years old, 16 years old from the Philippines, Pakistan, and somewhere in the world, which they don't have good school. But they are scientists recognized by scientific community in the world. They create something very useful for the world. Just for example, like one scientist in the Philippines, 16-year-old, find the cure for the cancer from apply the lột dưỡng, apply cực khổng, ăn khổng dưỡng. I don't know what's that. It's a kind of berry, a berry soft wild berry thing we call cực khổng. And that thing was recognized by the doctor and scientific all over the world. But it was created out of the tree that you and me see every day. We don't know what it is, but we pretend that we know it. Okay. Okay, enough for the day. I think this is good thing for the day. Any question for that? Hmm? Okay. Okay. I stop sharing and then I shut down the call.